cheer TSM here as North America's #1 team will be #1 at Rift Rivals in the group stage, and they will move on to face Unicorns of Love to cement whether NA is greater than EU or EU is greater than NA.
And when push comes to shove, it's Bjergsen, the man in the mid lane, makes the game-ending play. The ult flash onto Perkz, coming up when it counts, and they're going to go to the finals.
All credit to G2 making this game as close as they could, but the clutch moment went down to Bjergsen.
To finish this?
They're going to try to survive.
Gonna relish their victory. They're gonna dance in the fountain. It's gonna go down. GG, well played TSM, 5-1.
We had so many insane moments towards the end of this game. We have very, very close fights. People were missing summoner spells, Elder Drake buffs, Baron buffs. Some of the walls from Perkz just missing out on where Bjergsen will be on the map. And then that last fight, Perkz got a little bit eager, feeling like maybe he could be the man, despite being 1-4 at that point. Sneaking in behind TSM, get the big play, but Bjergsen says, nah, I'm the man here getting the big play.
Yeah, I mean, when you go for those risky plays, at the end of the game, you're going to be a hero, you're going to be a zero. It's either going to come up big for your team or you cost your team the game, but you have to have the confidence sometimes to look for those plays because they were kind of bleeding out. They had lost all their inhibitor turrets. They were losing inhibitors, and it felt like G2 needed to make something happen.
I completely agree. I don't want to see hate online for Perkz because this was a catastrophically difficult game, and he still did the most in the game. Perkz had such...
Not really much he can get done with that second jump forward, but they have traded kills. Top laner for support, advantageous for TSM, and they're looking to knock down this turret. Doublelift will take it down pretty fast.
It's pretty close on that one. Not quite going to kill it, but it's dangerously low.
So that fight here actually was pretty even. G2 Esports getting 1 kill, Expect and dying after. Bjergsen was left completely untouched. I think the wall before the fight from Perkz was meant to kind of cut Bjergsen off, and maybe he was stuck on the wrong side where they could engage on him without the flash, but this wall right here, just on the wrong side, so Bjergsen and Doublelift feeling safe enough.
It is still some very nice setup for Expect. With the Mega Gnar, they feel like they can go in, look for a fight here, and they want to force it before Mega Gnar expires. Otherwise, they are going to get sieged down. They're not going to be able to look the fight, so they go for the play, able to take down Biofrost very quickly, but look at the damage coming out on the front line.
Exactly, because now Bjergsen and Doublelift, they're feeling pretty safe. All Bjergsen had to dodge was that one Kalista ulti with just a time Kench being thrown her way. Doublelift as well was so confident he actually jumped all the way in and almost died because of it. But if you see G2 Esports use their tanks on trying to get to Biofrost in some of the next fights, well then G2 Esports will lose the fights. They have to try and get onto Bjergsen or Doublelift, and the easiest one is probably Bjergsen, obviously without a jump on his own.
Sure, and his Ghost is down for a few more seconds, or I should say a few more minutes. He used it in that fight before. Does have the flash. We'll see how it goes. I want to shout out Perkz doing a ton of damage in the last fight, and shout out Sven for a flash just before Miasma landed, because he would have died for sure if he didn't flash right before Bjergsen's W lands.
I also want to point out the fact that the Gargoyle Stoneblade is actually done for Hauntzer now. That is such an important item on the Jarvan because it turns you more from like this duelist into this one item allows you to be so effective in team fights because of the amp on your W shield. It makes that so much larger, and it works so well with J4 because you can utilize all your damage, immediately pop it, then your damage cooldowns are coming back up as it's expiring.
It's just the best team player item in the game for a tank. Not about your damage anymore, but instead staying alive while your backline is killing their front line. You don't die as fast. So this wall was used by Perkz right now to block off near the Baron. TSM is actually on the other side of it.
They're going straight onto the Baron now. The wall is expiring. G2 does have ultimates.
Bjergsen taking the Baron, healing right back up though. Trick on the other side of the wall. They got to be careful about that one. More damage coming out from Perkz. Sven Skarin at about 2/3 HP. And Hauntzer chunked down as well, actually.
Yeah, that play was not very good from TSM because they completely abandoned the mid lane wave here. Mark Z is sitting at home being super mad because you gotta get that mid lane push first. They just went straight for Baron, and obviously G2's walking right in the river and being like, no, you're not gonna kill this.
The Echo Fox analysts, on the other hand, have seen nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
it's like, nice play, TSM.
Unlucky G2 just played a little bit better than them. Weird. Don't know how it happened, but they managed to walk in. Mid lane collect. And, oh, wow! G2 pushed the way first. Walk to Baron.
Exactly.
I've never seen this before.
TSM
Don't say it's because of Castanet. That would be rude.
TSM just lost a little bit of vision there, but still in the goal lead. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say here, so I just say in the goal lead.
In the goal lead.
A good point, Deficio.
Just some caster tips here. Yeah,
I took your point away.
They're pushing minions, and Hauntzer is pushing minions. And
TSM has to get control of the side lanes because G2 did actually have bot lane pushing during that whole sequence, and they have started a slow push that's stacking up very heavily on the top side. So G2 is having some good side lane control, allowing them to kind of reestablish themselves on the map. Someone's going to have to go top and answer that for TSM, and the game has stalled out quite a bit to where I don't feel like the gold lead really matters much at all when you take the Infernal Dragon into account. But it does come down to scaling. It does come down to who can utilize their team fight better.
Yeah, just looking at the carries and the gold, the 280 carries are even in terms of the overall gold. It's just about 14,000. It is Bjergsen being 2,000 gold ahead of Perkz. That is kind of the big difference if we look at just those guys. And really impressive that actually G2 Esports have been able to kind of stay in the game after it looked so bad early. And also TSM not being able to get that second Baron set up properly has cost them a little bit of time. And some fairly even fights actually going just 1-for-1.
Guardian Angel done now for Hanser is going to be pretty important, I do think. Elder Dragon coming up in 10 seconds as well means now there's 2 objectives to play for. Now G2 would, their Elder Dragon's twice as good, so maybe they actually put more priority on that one, but TSM going to rush down the Baron first.
So Blue Trinket just used on the Baron here. They do see the fact that 2 guys are sitting on it. Perkz with another wall to just try and deny TSM either an exit or an entrance.
Yeah, they're over by the Elder, so this is something that they would really like to get, but they have to be wary of TSM pushing up mid. Yeah, that inhibitor is exposed.
That little dodge there from Bjergsen was very important. Could have been a lot of damage landed from Perkz while he was sitting there out of vision. TSM, though, they're going straight back into Baron.
I'm not sure if G2 minds the trail. I think they're still losing by a little bit here. And again, it's a 4-stack Elder Dragon. It does last 1 minute less time, but as long as they don't have to get outplayed around that last minute right there, it's going to be a quick pickup for TSM. They've got the Baron buff, and let's see where they can go next.
And now TSM actually has to play a bit defensive for a while. You don't really want to fight heavily into this Elder Dragon. You have the extra time on that buff, but I think it would be pretty risky for them to actually get out on the map and look for a fight.
Well, they're actually trying to set up a little trap here, and they're using their mid lane wave and top lane wave to go for the turret. Remember, no fast recalls from G2 side. See, they're sitting bot lane waiting for someone to show up, but they're all sitting top lane.
Oh, this could really work out for TSM, though. They have more members here, and they're by the base. If G2 comes forward, they can get a pick and take a free inhibitor.
If Bjergsen goes, he has a chance of reaching him and landing a miasma slow.
Someone needs to face check.
Hanser's waiting by himself, and at this point, G2 needs to realize that no one is shown on the map at all. There's no buff that minions as well, so no one's near these lanes. And just the way pushing in. They both try to be cheeky.
Yeah. They were hoping maybe Hanser would show up bot lane with his TP and just push the wave out. They could have killed him, but G2 Esports, they're still pushing up mid now, and TSM are still hiding.
I mean, TSM staying around here is very risky. If you can get a great jump on the fight and take someone out immediately.
Now they know.
Oh, he didn't find anything.
That can work out for you.
Now they know.
It's one of those situations where G2 has so much more power during this Elder Dragon buff. You really have to show the respect to that.
I totally agree they're better fighters, but if TSM are just buying time back and forth, they've
point. So it's all about like who finds the right engage at the right time. And Bjergsen just seeing the opportunity, like finding Perkz off guard, and like basically deciding the team fight to begin with was pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, I think up until this point, G2's front line was playing better, but TSM had the stronger scaling back line, so that's why it took so long. And there were so many of these team fights that were, you know, touch and go there.
Yeah, and on top of that, they knew that they were playing for place in the final, so I guess that the mental aspect was also kicking in there.
I mean, to be fair, they also had more tools in their front line with the Gragas ult and the Gnar engage, so I think it was just a really back and forth game for the last like 15 minutes where it could have went either way, but in this tournament, it just seems like G2 is not really in a spot where when it's really close, that they will take the game. So I wasn't really surprised that in the end TSM won the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe to round off, talking about what we've seen from G2, because if we look at the tournament holistic,
It seems like G2 is not really in a spot where when it's really close, that they will take the game. So I wasn't really surprised that in the end TSM won the game.
yeah, that's a good point. Maybe to round off, talking about back into form, and for so many weeks in EU, we've said, well, it's definitely going to be this week. It's definitely going to be this week, but this is cause for concern, I think, or am I overreacting? Amazing.
I'm not quite sure. Like, I think that this tournament kind of served G2 as a memory to the that like G2 now is going to start playing towards a style and actually be confident within it. And it's not going to try to adapt to UL or Fnatic anymore, and it's actually going to push forward what they think is right.
All right, well, we'll see if that happens. We've seen a lot of action so far at Rift Rivals 2017, and here are the results from the group phase. North America's teams winning 12 games over Europe's best, who only got to win Sixth
rough.
in the end. That is rough. That is rough.
sucks.
Definitely not what we expected. If you guys had been playing, obviously it would have been
Yeah.
completely
You beat
different.
me, right? Yeah.
Definitely not.
No, definitely not. Well, the Unicorns of Love are the ones that are victorious from the side of Europe. Kobe, what was unexpected for you in how the games went and how the teams went?
Today, actually, not much was unexpected. I think pretty much everything went to chalk today. As far as the last interview that we just saw from Double and Bjergsen, though, talking about as long as we don't get cheesed, I mean, I don't think grouping up as 5 mid and going for a team fight to try and engage on someone is cheese, so...
I thought that was pretty weak because he said, I hope we don't get cheese. We did see them drafting a complicated composition and getting a strong performance and good team fights. And I was like, what? So that's good, isn't it? But, you know, in general, cheese is not a thing.
I think it more comes down to if TSM is able to control the early game and push their leads, because they have been showing that they are playing well in the early game and getting leads, and against UL you are not, if you make small mistakes they will capitalize on it, and then so you pretty much need to play a flawless game, and then if that happens, then I think TSM will stomp you if that happens, obviously.
Yeah, I think that like this whole cheating part is kind of iffy, and like I think that UL is doing what TSM is doing to a small extent. They basically just like play teamfight comps, like 4-1 comps that succeed in their own. I don't think there's anything cheaty about it. I just think that TSM is stronger macro-wise, and they're actually like more controlled. Their ward coverage is more on point. So all the things they're doing are just like on a step above UL. So I'm rather gonna see, like, looking forward to seeing how UL is actually adapting to the VOD coverage they have now, to actually like seeing how TSM is warding and basically controlling the map and how they're gonna respond to that.
So they're on par with UL in everything and better, actually. I agree with that. Besides maybe that crunch time team fighting. So can that make the difference?
Surely, like UL has been really, really good under pressure, whereas like TSM is like, you know, they're back and forth. So I think that UL, if it comes down to a 50-50 call, like whether it's Drake, Nash, or a team fight, they're going to have the upper hand.
That's where they have the chance. Let's see if we can find some clues in the stats breakdown of EU versus NA, where TSM or Unicorns of Love might have an edge. The early game for North America has been really good, and also for Unicorns of Love specifically, it's not been good, whereas it has been in the ULCS, so that might be a problem for them. Objective control is also still lacking, so in the numbers game overall, it should be an easy win.
But I mean, UL has shown that objective control for them doesn't actually matter that much, as long as they can get that one fight where they can just roll over the enemy team. So I don't think we should look too much into the stats for UL specifically, because they play a very specific style where what matters is the team fight and what item spikes to have in that fight.
Yeah, I think the main thing is that people need to keep in mind these post 15-minute lane assignments. If you're playing versus Unicorns of Love, never send your AD carry off to the side lane to split push, right? Because he's not going to be able to join. They will engage on you, and that's where they look for those team fights.
If we look at, you know, if you want to judge, of course, also we're kind of judging EU versus NA in this tournament, as is the nature of the tournament, not inciting flame. But stats like having horrible objective control, overall about all the teams that you're sending versus all the other teams, a goal deficit that isn't able to be up to par in one games overall. You know, as you guys who are playing in the European region and playing towards Worlds and want to see good results there from either teams, what do you make of that?
It comes down to the mindset you have as a team, because we have seen the style that Fnatic brings in